So, why doesn't somebody help me remember what it was that we did? I think we did 3 major calculations or sets of calculations on Tuesday. And I think maybe we should go, maybe do one more of each of those for reinforcement. So what was one thing that we covered? Yeah. So what are the 2 ways to do fit? Where do I go? What do I do?
Go to the tax table on your book.
Yep. And how do I decide whether to use the wage bracket or the percentage of withholding?
Depends on how much they make.
Yeah, if they're pretty high income and or they're paid on some weird pay schedule like daily or annually, you can't go to the wage bracket tables, which I believe start on page T5. Probably want to grab your appendix out. I need to go grab a calculator, but I'm going to get you started. So let's just start by doing somebody who's quoted a monthly salary of $11,000. Paid weekly. And married with 3. I'm really asking you to do for Sam basically what you did for your homework for today. Sam is quoted a monthly salary of $11,000. He's paid weekly, and his W-4 says married with 3. He elects to put $1,500 annually into his flex plan. This is his 22nd paycheck of the year. There's no sit. And I want you to basically run his paycheck. Do just what you did for the homework today. I want you to calculate his gross paycheck for 1 week, his 22nd paycheck. Figure out his fit, figure out his FICA, figure out anything else that you think you need, and take us down to his net paycheck, please. Don't forget to convert the flex to a weekly withholding, right? Because that's how often he's paid. Cole, you're going to want to go to page T-2 and subtract the withholding allowances first. What number are you calculating that based on? What number are you? Are you taking the 2538 to the tables?
That's his flex contribution.
You've got to subtract the flex. You don't pay any taxes on flex. So the number we're taking is 2509.61, which is the gross paycheck minus what? 1,500 divided by 52 paychecks. Right? $1,500 annual election divided by 52 paychecks. So 2538 minus whatever that number was gives us that. The next thing that we have to do is go to the tables. And what did I say, married with 3?
Yes.
So on page T-2, one withholding allowance buys you $77.90, right? So 77.9 times 3, so less the withholding allowances. That's ultimately the table number I'm taking to the tables, yeah? And I'm on table 1B. And it says, now I'm on page T3, table 1B, and it says my tax is $199.50 plus 25% of the excess over 1613. 1613 equals times 0.25 equals plus 199.5 equals 365.23. Yeah? What do we do with OASDI and HI? What number do we calculate it on? This one or this one? OASDI and HI. We don't pay any taxes on a flex contribution, do we? So you have to subtract the flex contribution before you calculate OASDI or HI. Is he capped for OASDI? How do you know that? What did you do?
Multiply the weekly gross by 21.
Yep, very good.
19.5.
Excellent. So you have to check, obviously he makes 11 grand a month times 12 months, he makes 132 a year. You've got to check that he hasn't capped. So you take his gross pay times 21, because he's been paid 21 times before today, and he's nowhere near the cap, so I don't need to worry about that. So 2509.61. $36.39. Okay, am I ready to calculate his check? Missing something. What do I have to hold out? His flex. Yeah? 1,500 divided by 52.
So let me get this right, you took, for the OASDI, you took 2509.61 times .062?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then the HI,
Same,
you took
same.
that times the .0145.
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
Why not the 22.7591?
Because this is the withholding allowances to take this number to the FIT tables. Remember, this is that page T2. That's only for FIT. That's only for the FIT calc, isn't it? Because that comes from the percentage of withholding tables. That doesn't have anything to do with OASDI or HI, does it? Because we just learned about those in this chapter, right? This is simply this page T-2, that whole piece of the calculation is only because we're calculating FIT from the percentage of withholding tables. I ask some more questions. There's a lot going on here.
And then the 2509.61, you got that from,
That's this.
minus,
This.
okay, minus your flat, okay.
And everything has to be converted, divided by 52 weeks.
I'm just a little off.
Like a couple cents.
$3. I'm done.
Let's see. What did I do? So it's the excess over 1613 times 25%. I'm taking this number, 2275.91 minus 1613 equals times 0.25. That gives me 165.73 plus 199.5, 365.23. Okay, and don't make the mistake then of forgetting the actual flex itself. Now, how do I get my $28.85 back? Well, first off, what is that? Why did I do that? What is the flex contribution?
It's where you take out a certain amount of your put it into a flex plan,
Mm-hmm.
and the employee matches that. No, he
There's
doesn't match it.
usually not, I don't even know that an employer can match, I don't, I mean, you just rarely see it. I don't even know if they can.
Okay,
That doesn't matter. So I take money out of my
So-
check, I put it into this account, what do I use it for?
health, medical.
Healthcare
expenses.
and childcare,
Yeah.
okay? How do I get my money out then from my flex? So say that McKenna owns Allegiance Benefits and I send her all my employees' contributions every week. How do they get their money out? You have to do it by the end of the year, but I get it out by submitting a receipt to them. Here, I've paid my dental bill, I paid my daycare bill. And then I get my pre-tax money out. So I earn $28.85, and I use $28.85 to pay the copay on my teeth cleaning. Not I earned $28.85 and then I got 15 of it after tax. So it's a dollar for dollar bang for your buck. Flex plans are awesome. I mean, and if you've got a family and you know everyone goes to the dentist twice a year and everybody, women get their annual exams and blah, 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 and you can line that all out. If you need a surgery, or you know that you get, acupuncture or physical therapy, or that you're on medication every month, anything like that. I mean, you can save beaucoup bucks, and daycare's a biggie.
But the contribution, once you lock into them, you can't change them over the course of the year. So
No.
So those are you to be pretty predictive?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's what I said. You go and I say, I know exactly what we pay every year for our regular dental care. I don't anticipate I'm going to crack a molar, because how can I? But I know what my copay is on getting my teeth cleaned. I know, and you write all that down. But then also it's like, I know that I need to have, my knee scraped, my meniscus scraped. So I'm going to do that in January, and I'm going to call, and I'm going to get all the copay on that, and that's going to be $2,800, right, for my share of my knee scrape. Okay. What if I had told you that that was an HSA rather than a flex? What would you have done differently?
You'd not subtract it off the top.
Well, no, that's not, no. One more time. You pay FICA on it. If I had told you this isn't a flex, this is an HSA, a health savings account, this number would be exactly the same, wouldn't it? These numbers would be calculated based on what number? This guy. OASDI and HI would have been calculated on the full 9538 because you don't get to subtract HSA to calculate FICA. It's complicated. Now, and if I'd thrown sit in there, all you have to remember there is sit and fit are always treated the same way. So if I don't pay fit on it, I don't pay sit on it. Okay, what else did we do on Tuesday?
We figured out how to do the opposite.
We did. We learned how to gross up a check. And I've got, I'm a Montana company, and I just hired a new development director, and I relocated her here, and one of the things that she wants is $900 a month take home to take care of her transportation costs. So I need to get her and once I figure this out, I'll just rerun it every month, okay? I need to give her a $900 net check. Now, you've got to ask me a couple questions. What do you need to ask me? Go ahead. Yep. there is state income tax, it's in Montana, and you know what the supplemental rate is. You know what the supplemental rate is for FIT. You're only missing one question. Don't you want to know how much she's made before today?
How much you
Yeah, because what if she's already over 118.5? I guess in the example I just gave you, that's not a good example because I said she just relocated here. But you've always got to ask that because if she's over 118.5, you're not going to withhold OASDI, are you? Okay, you have everything you need to run this check. Plus, I want to know what my monthly 941 deposit's going to be on this. Okay. Pull up your phone. Chapter 4, I'll show you the map. Okay, you pull up your phone. Found it. Okay. So
I'm not understanding this.
Oh, I know you haven't heard any sound, it's because it's dead. You have your page open in your notes where we did it last time.
Yeah.
Last time I put all the steps, right? Like 1 through 5 or something. Okay. So the first step is writing down. I'm not saying there's going to be a number for every one of these things, but I'm saying you got to write down your model. All right, Jonathan, what can I plug in at this point? So from up here, do you have any data you can put in this model? You do, but let's start with the easy one, right? I know what check I want to write her. Right? Go ahead.
Is it okay if we're like a 3 cents off?
No, you have to round something, because otherwise when you put it in payroll, it's going to be $900.02. Okay. So that's basically step one, is I get everything filled into my model that I can. The second thing that I have to do, who is here? McKenna, what's the second thing I have to do? I put the tax rates beside each of them, right? Okay. Fit, 25. SIT, 03. OASDI, 062. And HI, 0.0145. So I know that I've got to subtract all those, yeah? So my net check, okay, so then the next thing is I've got to tally these all up, right? What's my total tax bite, Carlos?
0.6435.
Oh, no, my total taxes. You're giving me 1 minus my taxes. What am I?
33.65. 35.65.
I think it's 35, isn't it? 35.65? Okay. So let's just put that. So what I'm saying, I'm going to get a check. I'm going to pay 35.65% of it in taxes, and then the remainder, right, which is on the screen I was just showing you on the PowerPoint, you and Katie, it's 1 minus the total of these, 0.3565. So what's left for the check? 64.35%, right? Does everybody see where I got those numbers? So really now, it's pretty easy peasy. What do I have to do?
900 divided by 0.6435.
Yeah, this check is 64.35% of something, which is our X, which is what we're trying to figure out. 1398.60. And then the kind of cool thing about this is you can figure out, so did you see where I got that? That's up. Then you can figure it out because you multiply it by each of your tax rates, and you're probably going to have to adjust a couple cents. Okay, so let's do that and then make the 941 deposit, and then we've got to kind of move on. I had asked you if you struggled with any of this to practice it some more. For those of you that weren't here, there's an iTunes lecture or a YouTube lecture from Chapter 4, Day 2 that's on Moodle that you should probably go to work through. 349.65. So now I'm gonna take my gross minus my taxes. Oh no, it ties to the penny.
Yeah, I just did my gross went the wrong.
Then the last thing I asked you to do was to make the 941 deposit. So my FICA is, of course, the total of these two numbers, 8671 plus 2028 times 2, FICA, fit. So I look at this and I say, wow. No. Oops. My 941 deposit, and I cut her a check for $900, and I still have to deposit what? What haven't I taken care of with the 941? Yeah, state. So, 41.96. So that little card check that I'm cutting her every month is costing me $1,500, not $900. Okay. So again, if you're struggling with this, I really just encourage you to go back and redo some of the work that we did last time. Just listen to it. You can forward, I mean, I'm sure you guys all know how to run YouTube. You can go, to the part of the lecture and just rehear what you need to do. Okay, so the next thing that we need to take a look at, I think we left off here. Okay, so at the end, what do I give you to fill out when you come to work for me so I know how to withhold? A W-4. What do I give you if you come to provide some services for me as an independent contractor? You remember what that is?
940. No. 10.
A W-9. If you come to work for me as an employee, I give you a W-4, and at the end of the year, I cut you a W-2. If you come to provide services for me as an independent contractor, I have you fill out a W-9, and at the end of the year, I give you a 1099. Exactly. Okay, W-2. A W-2, obviously this is tax time. If you guys have jobs, you probably have been getting your W-2s and filing your tax returns. It reports all your wages. It reports everything that was withheld, right? Your federal income tax and your state income tax. And you prepare it as the employer, right? And you've got to send them to the state, Social Security Agency, the employee, et cetera, et cetera. And if you're issuing a bunch of them, in other words, 250 or more, you've got to do it with magnetic media or digital media. They just take you through all these. I don't know if they do that. Okay, I'm going to put up a flow chart in a second, but I just kind of want to review these really quickly. And then the flow chart is something you're going to need to pretty much just know inside and out because it's the reporting requirements surrounding end-of-year stuff. So once, like say you guys all work for me, I do a W-2 for each of you. Okay, and we know that when we report a number of forms, we have to have a transmittal. And the transmittal form, where am I? The transmittal form for W-2s is called a W-3. So that adds up everybody's gross wages, everybody's FIT withholding, everybody's allocated tips or whatever. Okay, it's a cover sheet. The first thing the IRS will do, obviously it's all digital, but they'll do a cross-check that your W-3 equals your 4 941s. Because every quarter you're reporting gross wages, FIT withholding, right, all those things. So obviously your 4 941s have to balance to your W-3. If they don't, the whole shebang's gonna come back, and something's gonna need to be amended. So if you know that, you're not gonna send your W-3s till you've run a tape on it and made sure they tie to your 941s. Okay, because it's no fun to amend. If you do have to amend, I do taxes on the side, and I just had the best, you always hate to call people and tell them they owe, and I just got this new gal client, she's a waitress and a full-time student, and she hasn't been taking her American Opportunity Tax Credit for her tuition. And I'm like, girlfriend, you're getting back a ton of money this year, and I'm going back and amending your 2 prior years because you didn't take it. She's getting like $6,000. She's a student. She's like, ah! So this is, an amendment.
So can you write off like any school expenses?
It's not so much a write-off as it is a credit against your income tax. It's for your first 4 years of school, post-high school, and it's if you claim yourself as a dependent. You get 100% of the first 2,000 and 20% of the next 10. So the credit can be up to $2,500 a year. But it does only counts for things that you pay for. In other words, like if you have scholarships or Pell Grants, that doesn't count. But if like you take out loans, it does.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I think what I'm going to do. Okay, so again, I'm going to go through this and then I'm going to put it all up in one flow chart so we can kind of get a visual of this. But this is for then my people that are what? Independents. And it's the same thing. I get a W-9 from you, and all the W-9 shows is what? What do I care about if you're independent? Do I care married and single, and do I care about any of that if you're my independent contractor? No, I could care less. All I need is your address and your social security number so I can cut you a 1099, right? At the end of the year, if you were all independents, I would do a 1099 for each of you, and you have to have a transmittal. Always have to have a transmittal, and with 1099s, it's called a 1096. Okay. Now, I get this question all the time too. Who do I have to 1099? Okay. There's 3 requirements. The first one is $600 or more. Right? You don't 1099 somebody if you paid them $136. Second, you only 1099 somebody if he or she isn't incorporated. So if I was Lisa Swallow CPA Inc., you would not 1099 me. If I'm just Lisa Swallow CPA sole proprietor, and I did a bunch of work for you over $600, you would by law have to 1099 me. And third, it's only for a service. In other words, like if I'm a computer consultant and I come in and I, bill you $80 an hour to work on your computer, but then I also sell you some computers, what do you 1099 me for? Just the amount of my billable hourly piece of the invoices. And again, you've got all input into the software. Because really at the end of the year, hopefully you're just going to hit a button and your 1099s are going to come flying out because you filled the software. She's 1099able. She's not. He is, but only for the fields that have billable hours, not the actual hard products. Has anybody here ever gotten a 1099? If you haven't, which doesn't look like anybody has, here's what they look like. Mostly for independent contractors, you're going to see box 7, non-employee compensation. Just what it is, compensation, but I'm not your employee. When I get my checks for these slides, you get it here. Certainly no $34,000, but okay. You get royalties. Rents. If you're paying rent, well, this is like a property management firm. So say I have an apartment building and you're my property manager, at the end of every year, you're gonna cut me a 1099 that shows you how much rent you filtered through to me. Okay, box one. I've had a couple guys that have gone up and worked in Alaska fishing boat proceeds, box five. I've got a couple physical therapists. Whenever insurance agencies cut them checks, they get 1099 in box six, medical and health payments. I think those are the only ones I've seen around here. Oh, yeah, I've got one guy that's got a farm in Iowa, and he gets crop insurance proceeds. So it's used for a lot of stuff, and it's all tracked. That's all the way the IRS checks that you report those things on your tax return.
So, I guess kind of off topic, but kind of on topic, say you're a racking guy working for a certain company, but then you do insurance for another company, that's considered an independent contractor?
So you're working for company A, and company A says I'm gonna book you with company B for a day?
Yeah, or say like company A doesn't work for a trip, so then you ask company B if you can work for them, and they say yes, is that considered?
That would be independent. They should 1099 you, if it's over $600. And if they don't, I can't recommend anything on tape, but it's not traceable. I mean, yeah. Okay, state and local, we're gonna do a whole section on this, so I'm not gonna go into that too terrible much. Okay, let's take a look at this flow chart that I wanna do. So probably if you take your notebook and turn it landscape, so that you can go across. So we'll do the first one first, which is easy. So this is the document flow for your two different types of burners. So again, what's the first thing that happens when you come in the door is my IC. And what do I do with the W-9? Do I send it somewhere? Do I file it? What do I do with it? I think it's just for my information to put in the software, isn't it? So I just, retain it. Okay. Then, at the end of the year, what do I have to send you? A 1099. And we just looked at that, didn't we? And there's one, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of it. Oh, and just FYI, there's tons of different kinds of 1099s. There's like a 1099 INT if you've got a bank account, you get interest. 1099 DIV if you have stock investments and you get dividends. 1099B if you sell stock. 1099S if you sell a house. I mean, there's 1099R if you have a pension. Pass-through banking, that's a new one. Yeah, that's only been out there probably 2 or 3 years. Yeah. 1099K, I don't know that I've actually seen one. I mean, I've seen
Stuff on the internet.
of them.
Stuff like that.
Huh, okay. So, the original one goes to the IRS. Oh, sorry, how do I want to draw this? Do I just plug these all in an envelope to the IRS, or what do I have to put for a cover sheet? What was the name of that transmittal? 1096. So these go together, obviously. Okay. So the main copy with the 1096 goes to the IRS. The second copy goes to the state of Montana. And I'm just going to call that DOR. I'll give you a chance to write it out. It's the Montana Department of Revenue, which is our state taxing authority. Montana Department of Revenue. And they don't have their own transmittal form, so you just shoot a copy of this and write state across it. Then obviously I've got to send one to you. And I need to keep one for myself, right? God bless. This all needs to happen by January 31st. And again, what are the 3 caveats? I only do this if you what? Earn over 600. Provide a service and not incorporated. Great. So that's the document flow. With an employee, there's a lot more going on, isn't there? What's the first thing that I get from you when you walk in the door? W-4. Be surprised how many people make that error, make that mistake. Okay, and again, what do I do with that? That's for my records as the employer, right? I use that to input into the software. Okay, then during the year, what do I have to file? This pertains to employees. You know this. Huh? Go ahead. Yeah, 941s, exactly. And those are filed how many times a year? Quarterly, right? I've got one too many. Yeah, quarterly file. And what are my due dates again on that? The 31st, not the 31st, the end of the month following the close of the quarter, right? So the first one is April. Right? Then we get to the end of the year. Oh, and I'm sorry, where do I send these? Where do I send my 941s, huh? Yeah. Then I get to the end of the year, and what do I have to send y'all? W-2s. How do we remember that? Because there's nothing intuitive about it. People just get them backwards. W-2U. Sure. Okay. So, the original, and let's see, I'm trying to color code this. Sum total of creativity and accounting. 1096. My transmittal for a W-2 again is a what? Yeah. And does anybody remember what I said that the W-3 totals have to tie to?
The 941.
Yeah. So this guy has to reconcile to this guy, doesn't it? Okay, and this, and these guys go together. Who do I send the W-3 and all the W-2s to? Actually, it's the Social Security Administration. Obviously, we use our W-2s for income tax, but they were originally envisioned or utilized and still are to post our earnings to our Social Security records. If you have worked 40 quarters, i.e. 10 years or more in your life in total, you should be able, they used to send us hard copies every year, but you can go onto the Social Security Administration website and make sure, and first off, you can project what you're going to get in retirement. Of course, that's kind of a joke because everything's up for grabs now. But they project based if everything continues to be solvent what you're going to get. And the second thing is make sure everything was posted correctly. I found an error. I had 2 numbers transposed. I can't remember what it was, but say I made 32 and it said I made 23 or something, 1,000, right? So that could have a $80 a month implication on my retirement check someday. So check that your numbers are posted correctly. Okay, so this goes to the Social Security. The second one goes to the Department of Revenue. And the transmittal for the Department of Revenue is called an MW3, Montana W3. And then I'm going to send you at least 2 copies. It depends upon what package you use. And what do you do with your copies? Well, if you file a hard copy tax return, if you do a 1040, you actually have to staple them to the front, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if you e-file, then hopefully everything's just going to match up in the great computer in the sky. And then you retain them. When is this all due? Same, 131.
Yeah.
131. Then the only other thing that can happen is if you didn't do what your payroll teacher told you to do and tie your W-3 out to your 941s, well, that's one thing. Or, you're going down your merry way and say, like, in March you pick something up and you're like, oh my God, my software has been miscalculating OASDI. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. My point being, you realize that your W-2s are wrong. Okay? Then everything has to be amended. You've got a W-2C to everybody, to all these parties, right? And a W-3C. And if your employees get a W-2C and they've already filed their tax return, then they have to do, they've got to do a 1040X, which is what I'm doing for this student/waitress that I'm working with. She's pretty excited. I mean, can you imagine how much money that is for a kiddo that's, a student? I guess you can't imagine your students. So it's like, holy moly. Okay, so that's the flow chart. All right. That really is sort of a wrap for chapter 4. We're going to go through our payroll problem number 1. We're going to go through our homework for chapter 4 on next Thursday. We're going to have a quiz on chapter 4 next Thursday, which is over all this. The flow charts, the calculations, all the form numbers. Okay. I don't think so. I just took it to get copied. No, I think it's just straight up 12 points. It's a quiz, not a test. Quiz. And then next Tuesday, we're going to start on the CLGL. All right, let me shut this down, and then we'll go through our payroll problem.